I'm on. Peace to all the human families of the planet Earth. How are you? I'm your host, Alexyss K Tylor, along with your co-host, Selena the Empress of 10,000 Years, as well as my brother, Saga-Assad, www.sagassad.com, as well as more. And we want to thank our guests who will be calling in around 9:30 tonight, the empowerment goddess, Alexyss K Tylor. Thank everybody for coming through, and we definitely want to thank her for coming through tonight and being our first official, let's say, formal guest. Like, I'm kind of bugging. Like, I didn't realize that it was kind of like that, that we haven't really done that. But I'm doing the knowledge, and tonight is the best night, or one of the best nights to do so, just being that we're dealing with your man, with the whole so-called Columbus thing. As we know that it never took place, and that this person was never really, there was actually no living personage of a man named Columbus. That guy was actually named Colon, C-O-L-O-N, and the Colon family to this day is the only family based upon their allegiance and what they were able to do in terms of destroying and killing as many native original people as possible. They're the only family to this day that can seek audience with the Pope without having to be received, meaning that the Colon family to this day is the only family that can just go up to the Pope and talk to them whenever they want. You notice when I said the Pope, I referred to it as them because there is two of them, There's what they call the white Pope and the black Pope. There's what they call the above-ground Pope, and then you have the so-called Jesuit general, who, again, is doing a lot of the crazy stuff that's being done. So specifically speaking, like I said, this thing is definitely going south for a lot of people, you know what I mean? But specifically speaking, now is the time, like I said, where a lot of our peers, a lot of our brothers and sisters who, I guess, were on a certain path are now alternate paths to their success, to their happiness, to a lot of different things that they're seeking material clarity on. A lot of allegiances are being made, a lot of allegiances are being broken, and what we kind of wanted to talk about tonight specifically was the fact that this is the time for us to be able to start to really take more time in understanding our spiritual security and what makes us feel secure as spiritual beings. It's not enough anymore just to look like you got the consciousness. Now it's the situation where you got to really be about what you say you're about. And I think a lot of people are starting to realize that the path that they put themselves on to achieve certain things is not necessarily the path that they should have been on or the path that they really wanted to be on. You know what I'm saying? So we're in a situation where we need to really not only pay attention to what motivates us or what drives us, but we need to do the knowledge to what we specifically want to be a part of in this reality and what we don't. Because it seems like a lot of us are just following fashion. A lot of us is just in a situation where because you see somebody else doing it, seeing somebody doing something and it looks cool, everybody wants to try to do it and act like they are cool. And we all know it's two different things. And to keep it real, nobody really likes a kiss ass. You know what I mean? Just like nobody really likes somebody who, in a sense, is a copycat. You know what I mean? But the funny thing is, when I was growing up, my great-great-grandmothers used to tell me copycats turn out to be tattletales. You know what I'm saying? And that said a lot in terms of the situation. You know, and it means a lot based on the situation at hand, you know what I mean? So we definitely got to do the knowledge to that, and we need to stand firm as to what it is we believe and what it is we have chosen to give our collective energies to. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, this is the place where people get involved or put themselves in situations in which people find themselves at the whim and beck and call of other people. Like I did the knowledge to it, like to keep it real with you, is situations going on where you have people who act as if they're not a part of certain things when really they are. Or you have people who will really not be motivated or inspired to do certain things until they see you or hear about you doing it. Which again brings about this whole thing about imitations of flattery. But let's keep it real, man. When you are an innovator and when you are really doing, and you in your lane and you're doing what you're supposed to do, and you're not necessarily caught up in what other people expect or want out of situations, you don't really have time to copy what somebody else is doing. You don't really have time to be in a situation where you're worrying about whether or not this person's influence is going to affect the influence that you are having in a given situation. And I'm not just talking about things in consciousness. I'm talking about things in business. I'm talking about anything that you or is created by an aspect of yourself or your creative prowess. This is why workmen are always worthy of their hire. And when you physically put something out there in the universe, it becomes alive for the fact that it has come from you. You know what I'm saying? So we have the ability to give life to inanimate objects, meaning that we have the ability to look at something that is not necessarily real or something that is inert and make it live. You know what I mean? By imbuing our energy into it, by imbuing what it is we want to see it eventually become, we have the ability, or we have shown ourselves to have the ability to be able to procure these things in the world. Yet, a lot of that ability is hampered, again, by the parasitic nature of those of us who have cut themselves off from their own divine creativity and spirituality, and thus have put themselves in a situation where they are now at the beck and call of another man or another woman, and their knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is basically based upon how much they revere this other person in who they have now depended upon putting their degrees in. You know, anytime you have a degree or you are building on knowledge and you allow someone else to dictate how that knowledge is supposed to be, or how you're supposed to interpret it, or what it is you're supposed to interpret it as, that is a form of control. You understand? The teacher-student relationship in its most innocent state has nothing to do about controlling the student. It has nothing to do about controlling and the teacher trying to exert some type of control. Teachers are only supposed to manifest themselves when the students themselves find themselves worthy or feel like they need greater instruction. And then in that, the universe provides the teacher and provides the elder or provides the contemporary to help you achieve that end. So, again, essentially speaking, when the student is ready, the master appears. Yet we are in a situation now where students are being held for ransom and their futures are being redistributed based upon how much, not how much they know, not how much they can do, not how much they apply themselves, but how much debt they incur to get into school, which within itself is not only a damn shame, it's now a straight racket. You know what I mean? Like, people forget that a couple of months, 2 years ago, these schools, people forget, like 2.5 years ago, the schools, when they were going through their initial debt crisis, this is right before the subprime thing happened and everybody lost their shirt in the housing market. Right before that happened, people forget that the United States government allowed corporations, money lenders, banks to start to offer student loans to people. At one point, there was a regulatory aspect of it because they would protect the students from predatory lending. Because the quiet is kept, America is one of the only countries in which you got to really, really pay out the nose and the ass for some sort of education that's really not going to get you nothing. There's no guarantee that once you got a PhD and you achieve that bachelor's degree and all that, you're going to get that job. As someone who has a PhD in international law, or I say jurisprudence, there were times that I would have to leave that off the resume in order for me to get the damn job because they would tell me that I was too overqualified. To what? Teach children? Children that I grew up in and been watching in the hood for X amount of years? Yes, I'm too qualified for them, because what did that mean? What it really was saying was that because I didn't get it through one of their direct channels, you see what I'm saying, I was too much of a risk. So a lot of times I had to just leave it off. I had to almost feign dumb. Think about that. All of the years I've been hearing, education is the key, education is the way, it's going to get you where you need to go. You need to go to school, get a degree, get a job. Then I drop out of school. I wind up getting my shit back together. I wind up getting a GED, then actually studying in this program, and then going through all of this shit for all of these years. And then finally, once I achieve the situation in which get what I'm supposed to get to be successful in this country, what do they tell me? Oh, you're too qualified. Oh, you overqualified. Well, what would you think you would be doing here? The people are not that smart. Like, this is shit that they would tell me about black people, about also black teachers that was working there. Because I wasn't staff, they could basically say what they wanted to say about some of these brothers and sisters that worked in some of these schools, teachers. You know, straight shitting on them. But then these black people be the most loyalist, humblest, most ass-kissing and step-and-touchingest black people you'll ever see. They would be waiting for somebody to do something wrong out of the regulations so that way they could report somebody and get brownie points for some job that they may not even still have. You understand? Once the education system, once New York specifically, once Mayor Bloomberg took over, destroyed the chancellorship, meaning the chancellor. The reason why a chancellor is enacted in a school is because the chancellor is the one who's supposed to watch out for the students on a more unihemispheric basis, meaning that they're taking both sides, all students, into account from all districts. When you're a mayor, your job is to run the city, is to facilitate the running of the city. You are not qualified to be an educator to decide what type of education is supposed to be brought to the children or not. Yet and still, the Jews in New York let him do it, and from that point on, the test scores was already in the toilet. They got progressively even worse. You understand? But guess what? People still sending their children to school. They still letting these people do it. So either the people are too damn lazy to do anything about it, or they have just been shocked into utter apathy where they feel they just can't do nothing, where anything they do is just not going to be respected. Either way, it's a problem. You know what I'm saying? It's a deep problem, and it's not getting no better. It's getting progressively worse. If they couldn't get everybody's test scores on a certain kilter by 2000, it definitely was not going to change after we went into the new millennium. Like, I don't know where they think or what they think is going on, but the world don't work like that. What they say, leopard don't change its spots. You know what I'm saying? So you got to remember, we're now in a situation, like I said, where you have all of these different people coming up. And just because they sound good and whatever, it doesn't necessarily mean they know what they're talking about. And we are in a time in which clones are seeking the energy of the divinely inspired, meaning you have a system that is based upon getting people to deny who and what they really are. You dig? So in a system like that, the only thing that can perpetuate itself is more individuals who subscribe to that same ideology. Therefore, the more you give up your culture here, the more you technically can achieve materially. Meaning the more you humiliate yourself nowadays on TV or whatever, the more famous you'll get, the more money you'll get, right? So in the vein like that, where everybody is not trying to be poor, because that's really the other side of it. Like I saw a thing today with Kanye West and Russell Simmons down by the protesters in Wall Street. It's like, what? What are you even there for? For what? Like these niggas really act like all you do is talk about how much money you got, throw money in niggas' faces, talk about how you gonna take niggas' girls and how broke niggas are or whatever, and then you gonna be the first one on TV talking about what? Oh, you know, they gotta give money back and they gotta stop the bankers. Like, you go to lunch with these niggas. Like, you go on on sabbatical trips with these dudes, man. So now I'm supposed to believe because you on ground zero, because you want to look like you want to do something, shit is better? No. So I'm not saying that, brothers can't get a change of heart. I'm just saying, again, the leopard don't change its spots. And who benefits from that shit? Of all of the people, the most obnoxious, self-centered, egomaniac of all of the rappers. He's the one down there talking about how the bankers need to do this and do that. And he right there with Blood Diamond Russell. Come on now. Trying to look like regular niggas. But this is what I'm trying to say. This is the clones now trying to occupy your space. They trying to act like they've been down with you. They're trying to act like they always knew about what was going on and who was cutting their checks and all of that. They only found out that shit through you. Half of these niggas that watch these tapes, these rappers and all of that be out here and they be doing shit and they be on TV watching, half of these dudes don't even know half of the things that they're involved in. To keep it real with you, they don't even know. You know what I'm saying? They don't even realize it until they go on YouTube and see a tape by a Daoud or a Brother Big Man or anybody like that. You know what I'm saying? They don't even know that they involved with certain shit. They don't even know what certain shit is until they see it. Just like it's now coming out that this chick Beyonce has been wearing a prosthetic. What you wearing a prosthetic for? A prosthetic belly? So what? Were you ever pregnant? Or are you pregnant? Who knows? And again, it's none of our business, but it is our business when you put it out there ritualistically for little black girls and little black boys to aspire to be like you and her dude. And again, I'm using those people as examples because unfortunately those are the closest thing to leaders that our children are looking up to as. Show you how sad and fucked up that is. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, the other day I looked around and I'm talking to my son about, history and culture and all this other shit. And I'm looking around and I'm like, damn, who besides me and his uncles, immediate family, could I say, hey, this is a strong black man for you to be able to look up to. Hey, this is a strong black woman that you could look up to that's really going to always keep it real or whatever. She ain't never bow down to the man or whatever. Really? There is no one. There's no one. Because everybody that was like that is dead. Think about that. Look around you in your life, in your situations. Of all this stuff going on, there is no one. None of these leaders, none of these so-called black niggas that's out here is worth any of that. They ain't doing nothing. So that is sad. But then if I was to ask, the average modern day, let's say Caucasian cat, hey, who are your heroes or whatever, he'll just come up with hundreds of names, hundreds of dudes. And these dudes is all killers. Case in point, Columbus. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm trying to say. Your enemy will create here out of straight murderous, psychopathic, genocidal people and then force your babies, my babies, whoever's babies, to adopt this shit and act like this shit is real and act like these people are really good people. To this day. Got Italian people, you know what I'm saying, who right there digging this nigga up like he's the greatest thing since sliced bread, like he brought all of these Italian niggas over here. No, you wasn't, because at the time that Columbus lived, those people who are calling themselves Italian now were all slaves to the Colon family and other so-called families. The only way they got their freedom was that they started coming up. They agreed to start killing Moors. That's how they started coming up. Don't believe me? Get the movie The Fountain with Hugh Jackman. It's one of the greatest movies ever made about the destruction in Grenada and everything else. But due to knowledge to that they will create heroes out of people that they know was only there to kill and harm black people. Yet and still, black people cool with it because they ain't got to go to work. You know what I'm saying? Like, should be real simple. Should be real base for a lot of our people, unfortunately. But as we say on the show, those people who are on it like that are not really your people, man. Your people are the ones that's going to be there and build on shit the way you do. Anybody else is basically just a potential agent. You know what I mean? Like I just got news from a homie, you know what I'm saying, that one of the pillars, luminaries in our community, you know what I'm saying, just joined the U.S. Army. I'm like, what? As much shit as we unlearn about how the double army work and all that, but hey, you know, this is the time, like I said, when brothers and sisters are going to start making their choices and we're going to start to see who's really about this shit and who ain't. Who will make justifications as to why they deal with certain energy, and those who will just basically draw the line in the sand and say, no, I'm not going to participate in that. I'm not going to let you exploit me. I'm not going to let you take what it is I have worked so hard to do and just, you know, piss on it or whatever, or try to copy it or try to do whatever. And I'm talking about anything you do, not anything creatively that comes from you. Each one of us got something to contribute, man. Each one of us are divinely inspired by the Creator to do great and wondrous things in this world, man. But if we're always worrying about what the next nigga doing, what the next woman doing, then we ain't never going to do what we supposed to be doing. And that's why they want us all to go back to Africa. That's why they want us all to pay more attention to the material world than the physical realm instead of trying to find a way to balance both. The idea of perpetually keeping everybody off balance is the only thing that's allowing this thing to continue the way it is. And we get it twisted. You know what I mean? We have gone from mistaking entertainment for knowledge. You know what I'm saying? We have gone from accepting or not accepting anything less than excellent than just trying to maintain a status quo. Like, there's not enough days. We're not in 24-hour days anymore. There's not enough hours in the day to get everything done. Yet niggas are still killing themselves to make that happen. And the government ain't telling you that you in 16-hour days now. He ain't telling you, you in 14-hour days now. He ain't telling you that. That means shit is getting shorter and shorter. But at the same time, the cosmic time is getting longer and longer, you know? So to me, it's an occupational hazard to think that you can just, you know, glean past stuff and not have to make direct choices and choose who or what not to invest or divest your energy into. It's maladaptive to think that you could just get along with everybody. That's not how this world works. That's not how reality itself functions. It is impossible. That's not true, because I believe in impossibilities. So I would say it's impossible, but I would say it's more likely that you, whatever vision or whatever you're on, whatever mission that you're on, the more you get in tune with yourself, the more you will be in situations and in manifestation with other entities or beings that will test that. That will test that resolve with you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, baby. I'm good, baby. That's for you. You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely going both ways, you know what I mean? And specifically speaking, now is the time, like I said, for us to be able to start to commune and really observe. We need to pay more attention and become more observant as to the situations and the things that are happening and how they involve us and why our energy is so important in this world for real, not just based upon, you know, what ancestors are saying or what books are saying about what you are, but what do you say you are about? What do you say it is? How have you defined yourself cosmically, spiritually, metaphysically, nationally, whatever? But none of that can help if the mind is divided within itself. And unfortunately, a lot of our brothers and sisters suffer from these mental maladies that somewhat, thank you, baby, that somewhat define or challenge us to look beyond what's basically in front of our face. But not a lot of us believe in the unseen realm anymore. Not a lot of us even believe in that anymore. spirituality, like it's beyond like Christianity to me. It's beyond, when we first came into the knowledge, a lot of us came in Christian. So that means that one of the first deconstructing programs or reverse engineering programs we have to go through was dealing with the whole Christianity program, as it was forced on us in the aspect of us adopting the ideology of worshiping the Caucasian Christ. Once we got past that, you see what I'm saying? We kind of shut down that aspect in terms of religion. So in one instance, niggas will rally up against Jesus, right? But on the other instance, like you'll have all of these other entities, deities, manifesting through the names that men have called them in this world, when really they're just as bad, if not worse. Yahweh is a jealous God. Let's take it back. So you don't want to stop fighting me and stop whining. You know what I'm saying?
It's okay. Okay? It's okay. Good boy. Just drink the juice. It's okay.
I want to go over there.
You can go over there in a minute. As soon as you finish reading, okay? And you say, I would like. No, I want. Come. You don't have to move on one. Stay still while you drink.
It just goes all over the place with things. So I'm just doing a knowledge to how these things have come to being. And now that we're at that stage in our lives where a lot of us that came into the consciousness, we came into the consciousness were somewhat young. I think there's an aspect of us that kind of looked at ourselves as like I don't think so.
404. I don't know. It's a very big article.
I've been looking for it. I haven't seen it. You know what I'm saying? So, specifically speaking, this is the time when all of this comes to play. You know what I mean? So, when I say we, those of us who are the conscious ones, we are the ones held responsible and accountable in that way for us to be heard and to galvanize what our people's future is going to be like for the next however many millions of years. And this is the time where we can write it now. Yet the more we want to do that, the more I see people doing the same old shit. You know what I mean?
Okay. Well, I think you have the number. I know what you mean. It's not allowing.
Hold up, guys. We'll check it for me.
I don't think that I can. I've never done that before.
The what?
Call and put her on the line. I can't do that. I can't. Okay, love. I'm looking for you. You have the direct number, right?
Try the host number. Try 213.
I thought that's the number.
I gave her the guest one. Try the host one.
Yeah, thank you. I don't have any battery left.
Yeah, we're just trying to figure out how to get Alexyss in the show, but you know how these people be doing. So we're going to work it.
She's not figuring out. Her dial tone is not pressing on her phone pad.
Oh, how convenient.
I don't think you understand what is happening.
It's hard. She can't even call out, basically, what you're saying.
No, but I'm going to try something else. Give me a minute.
That's not really the energy I need right now with that, okay?
What I'm going to do is like this. Hold on
a second.
Number. I don't know why he gave me the guess. Let me give you the whole.
The guess. Give it all.
I understand. Let me give you another number, love, okay? It's 213.
We're going to try another one now.
325 3434. And then you're going to be asked to be a host. The host PIN number.
No.
Let me know when you're ready for that.
I don't think it'll allow me to do that.
I don't know if it'll allow you to host, but
Tell her
I'm going to give you everything. It's 620-435-9821 pound.
I hope nobody heard
Now,
that.
I don't think so. All I'm saying to you, love, is the whole 213 number, and it'll prompt you to press number 1 to be a co-host with the host.
Well, it'll say you want to get you in the queue.
Okay, love. Thank you. I'm hanging up. A lot, and I just need her to try it.
No.
I don't think outside. I don't know what else to do.
All right, man. All right, so we'll see what it is.
We'll go outside so people don't hear me. I'm sorry.
So specifically speaking, guys, this is basically how it all kind of happens, you know. As everything is compounded within itself, we wind up in situations where we don't have a means of self-expression. So in venues such as this, I think self-expression is very good, you know, yet I think because it's still such a public venue and these people are using this specific stream as a means to somewhat, again, impede people's message and progress, we have to come up with different vehicles and ways to be able to continue this on our own without the use of these media projects. Or, again, develop our own, you know what I mean, our own version of this stuff, you know. However, what I find with us as original people is our biggest hang-up, unfortunately, be bread. It be money, you know. So, you know, we have all of this drive, all of these incredible ideas, all of these different talents and stuff that we can put out there to do, but then it's like no bread to get it actuated unless we find, you know, investors or whatever. There used to be situations where in the black community we had patronage, you know, but a lot of that fell the wayside once the Greek and college fraternal system was re-established and invigorated into black so-called American culture. It became the basis of which people were now had to be vetted and brought through to prove themselves worthy.
I heard the first number, but nobody heard the post number. Some people said no.
Okay,
no, I didn't.
That's good.
I didn't hear it. But with things like that happen, I
didn't know you were going to do that. I didn't know you were going to give her that. I thought you were just going to give her the number. I didn't know you were going to give her the pin.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? So, specifically speaking, you know, that's how it kind of functions. Let me see if she's in.
I don't know what I'm looking for.
Her number. You're just looking for her number. Peace. Alexyss?
Yes.
Hey, what's up, Queen?
I'm fine. Just change the pin or disregard it because I'm going to disregard it. I didn't use it. I'm not going to use it. So I hope you don't.
Oh, no, it wasn't so much you. It was more so everybody else. I'm just glad that you was able to get in. I'm like, wow. It was, man, problems trying to do it for the last time, you know? I'm glad we could actually come through, man. Thank you so much for blessing us with your presence and coming through and holding us down, you know, and giving us that other perspective, you know what I mean, to balance it out as well, you know.
Well, you all are doing a good job. I'm very proud of you and the work that you're doing. I love the show and the information that you're giving and the positive male perspective of color.
Thank you.
That is needed because we don't have it. We don't have the balance, especially not in the so-called conscious community, so-called conscious, unconscious community. So
indeed.
I'm glad that
thank you.
And you with your wife, and you with the beautiful prince, and you all are together. It's so important to see the togetherness, and ain't no wife here and girlfriend there. And
Papa was a Rolling Stone, my dad, but I think in watching him, in watching him and seeing kind of like how he wound up, I think very early on it was just something in me that was like, nah, I can't go out like this dude. You know what I mean? For all of these girls, they're bugging. But since you brought that up, Queen, let me ask you, how do you think that we, well, not us specifically, but original people, black people, contribute to this type of apathy that you see going on in the conscious, unconscious community?
Well, from me meeting so-called black people from all around the world, this has been the lifestyle of a lot of our people. This is the way a lot of them live, and they're into the polygamous lifestyle. I think there have always been sects of us that live that way, but they try to say this is something that we we all do or we've all done, and I know that's not true. Because I know people that are Iranian, Ethiopian, Egyptian, they know more about the past civilization, the history and tradition of the people because they're in America, but they also still speak the language, speak Amharic, and a part of the culture. And they're telling me from their parents and what they saw, this is not the way all so-called black people live because a lot of them ain't going to play it. They're not going to share no dick. They're not finna share, and the men are not finna share no bitch. They're not with that. So it's like to impose that on us. And then these men are walking around here saying, you know, I'm my Aunt Ra Ramsey, the third, fourth, fifth. All this bullshit. It's like a lot of them really have not traced their lineage back that far to know for sure that that's in your DNA. It's like we're all from different parts of Africa. We have different beliefs, different traditions. Everybody is not from the same place. Like everybody's supposed to say that we're all Egyptian or we were all on the throne. That's not true. So it's like we have these people perpetrating this because you read it in a book or what they call having good scholarship that they always say I don't have. So now you read that and they're saying all of us came from that. You don't know that. You don't cosmically know that. You just know because a book said that, and now you want to manifest that and say that this is what I am. We're all kings and we're all gods. So they're taking on and trying to embody a deity that they cannot even fully encompass in their consciousness. They can't even expand to that level to really embody the deity. But you're trying to physically do it to justify getting these women to go along with this agenda that you really don't have a real full, detailed knowledge of other than what you saw in a book. So I'm seeing the women following this because a lot of our women are lost. They got away with pussy. They don't know their identity. They done suck every time they can have. You know what? I was talking to someone, a friend of mine that's a very deep, a very knowledgeable priest. He was telling me that this woman was bragging to him that she didn't really want to get with him because she done met one of these conscious niggas in New York that told her he's going through conscious meditation, balancing her chakras, and he done downloaded Heru into her crown. And I said, wow. So she thinks she's doing something. She got something, and she don't want to talk to him because this other guy is so charismatic and magnetic. And I said, wow, that's so deep. That's what I'm going to address in my Baltimore lecture about the resurrection of the goddess and the god. Because to her, he looks like a resurrected God. And she is so low and so lost in the knowledge of herself and unconscious of the knowledge that she gave birth to God. But this motherfucker's so goddamn blind that when he comes to her trying to embody a God, she can't even see that he is not embodying the highest level of a deified fucking God. He cannot pay homage to the goddess in her because he's not paying homage to the higher level of the God within him that has nothing to do with no pussy and dick shit on a third-dimensional matrix level. So he done downloaded the whole part of Heru in her. So she fucking and sucking, drinking calm with him. They doing spiritual sexual lectures because he told her, I downloaded Heru. You got the low-ass part. The physical, low-level fucking ass part of Heru. You can't embody Heru because you forgot the God is resurrected in you, so she's still in her casket. You think he's a resurrected God. He definitely ain't on the top of his level of his godhood because if he see you weak because you don't remember him and you don't remember that you gave birth to him, he is not truly activating your crown, not only opening up some Heru low-level fuck shit, but then opening up to let you see that you are the goddess and you are his mama and you are every man's mama that approach you with that downloaded Heru shit so that he will balance you and say, you know what, I don't even want to start. Don't take your drawers off of me.
Don't even bring that shit to me. So let me ask you this. So basically what you're saying to me, you know, to summarize it as well, is they both basically lying to each other then. They both making themselves believe shit that really is not real. He's trying to get her to believe he's some sort of God that can help resurrect her, and she basically is saying, okay, well, the goddess that you are saying that you put in me, I feel activated enough that you can activate me with your penis. Basically is what you're saying, right?
Basically what she's saying is she can't even find herself. He found her. He's her teacher. He's her God. He elevated her and resurrected her mind, and he set this fool free. She only realized she's a damn fool and that she don't need his dick or nothing to set her free because she is the divine mother and the goddess and the damn God. And she gave birth to this so-called God that is damn elevating her fucking crown.
So let me ask you this. Why then would someone who is, let's say, somewhat intelligent, right? The sister seems somewhat intelligent or whatever. Why would someone allow themselves to believe such madness with no sort of proof or no sort of verification of this? Like, what makes, because I'm hearing what you're saying. It sounds like the man, he's weak, and he's convincing himself that he's something he's not, thereby giving himself a false superiority complex, and then trying to basically accentuate her inferiority complex. So what about her is allowing his rhetoric to basically dictate the course of her life? And using her as an example, why is it that women or certain women can allow themselves to become susceptible to shit just based on dick, just because they don't want, or just because this is what they said that they have convinced themselves that this man is to them? Like,
it's
what about
easy.
them makes them feel that?
It is easy because, see,
What's easy? When you say it's easy, what's easy?
It's easy for him to do what he do because she's an idiot. You know what I'm saying? She's a fool, and he's coming to her as an angelic being of light and a damn snake at the same fucking time. Because she knows that what she is what made up the whole subatomic structure of what he is. And he knows when he looks in her eyes, in her heart, and in her pussy, that she is blind to the knowledge that she's divine. So really she's lost, and she's searching for the truth in a man. I've been there. I know how that feels. And those men that come down south from New York like that, or that we meet somewhere else, y'all are so magnificent to us because we ain't heard nothing about that shit. We don't know that you're God and that I'm a goddess and that we are Egyptians. These deities are our ancestors, and we created the world, and we are the first woman that gave birth to all civilization. So y'all dropping this high science on us, and we so low down here because they got us wrapped up in this Jesus and all this bullshit and go to school and get educated and make your money. So y'all blowing our mind. You busting the top chakra open and the bottom chakra open at the same time because, hey, we love power. Women lie if they say that they don't love a man that's powerful. You might not love him. He might not be powerful with money right now, but he's powerful with truth, and he's dropping on your damn head. He busting open your pussy, vibrating, tingling, and you want God to set you free because you don't realize that you're the one. So it's real easy to get caught up like that and for her not to see beyond his knowledge or perceived knowledge of who she is. And he's coming to her saying, I got the keys to your mind. I got free your mind. Now you're going to free them pussy,
so really, legs up,
all them lips. And I'm going to get in that ass.
Really, you're talking about pimping.
And then I'm going to elevate your chakras because I'm going to download this knowledge and it's calm. See, that's what it is to me.
Right, so you're talking about, so basically you're saying he's pimping. So you're saying there's a lot of pimping going on with this shit, right?
See, you know what? I'm long-winded, but you know how to break it down real in 2-3 words. That's what I see.
No, but I appreciate that. That's what I'm trying to, get, because what I see, too, before I even put my sense to it, let me ask you this. Okay, now, on the man tip, when you have a man now who, let's say, is basically a good man, and he's trying to do exactly what he's trying to do, he's trying to be there for his family, whatever, and then he winds up hooking up with a shrew, you know what I'm saying, and she wound up barbecuing him, going through all of that, but he's still trying to just pine and be there for her. Is the man then suffering from the same psychosis that the woman is suffering from in that moment? Because, niggas get pussy with too. You know what I'm saying? Like, they'll shoot a dude, they'll kill a nigga, they'll do whatever for a girl, you know what I mean? And the girl may not even like them, but they'll convince themselves of something to the point where, it's just them and that, and they'll put themselves in that vein. So is the guy, the male, then in that same situation, is he turning this woman into his deity to worship her and then thereby destroying the one inside him as well?
Yes, because he probably had his mama or somebody else start him off like that. A lot of men, mama done left them. A lot of men, mama sexually and psychologically raped and abused them, abandoned them. So they are looking to edify the goddess, to actually put her on a pedestal and worship the deity. And they are so low and so lost in their own identity, they don't realize although she gave them breath and they became God through the goddess, because a woman can make a man, but a man can't make no woman. So he's real twisted and he's weak, too goddamn weak for me. And that woman is in the lower level of her reptile energy. So now she's become a vampire, which means she weak. That's why she's playing on a weak-ass man. She don't want nobody to stand toe to her and deal with her own wounds and her own issues. And when I see a good man in that position and he won't listen to me, he's got a hard love story to justify why he is a slave to a really disagreeable deity and a female, not leave him alone. Because he's basically an idiot and she's his teacher. That's what I'm saying. A lot of this shit is divine. It seems fucked up, but it's really divine.
It is.
So,
but
let
me ask you this. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I will.
No, I want to ask you, well, if that's the case, right, because I'm in agreement with that, then why is it, now, this is me, Aseer, looking at things. I just happen to be a man. So as a man looking at things, sometimes it seems like whenever issues of the family or what's not being done with the family or what should be done with the family, whatever it is with the family, whenever it comes to that, it seems like the man, or the black man specifically, is usually the brunt of, he's a deadbeat dad, he's a this, he's a that, he molested the woman, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's always the guy. Why is it then, if that is let's say the stigma, right? Let's say the black man is the stigma, he's the one in the family that's fucking everything up. Why? I'm not saying that's true. I'm just saying that is how it is perpetuated. Why is it then we don't hear about women doing aspects of things like that as well, if these things are happening just as much to the women as well? Why is it that the woman is not necessarily like you don't hear like the term deadbeat mom, don't exist, but deadbeat dad exists. You see what I'm saying? But whereas you can have a woman who's not necessarily the best mother, but so long as she is a mother, it seems like there's a certain disconnect when it comes to holding them to task for some of the things that they fall short of. Am I making sense? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do, but I'm saying I do hear it. You're right. It's starting to come out now about these filthy, low-down women, but it's always been that. I've seen it in my community. I hear it. Men tell me this and other women tell me this about women that leave their children behind and how they devastate, the boys that they leave behind and the daughters that they leave behind. But I think the society, it looks like it's really reversed, but it's not, because we live in a society that's basically designed to destroy and degrade the black man anyway. So even if it's not completely true, they're going to try to skew the information or create situations to make it look like all black men on the down low, they liars, they smoke dope, they fuck everybody, and they don't take care of their children. We know.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. I'm just like, if that's the case, then what can people do? Like, if they're in a situation and they find themselves being mentally or spiritually fed on by somebody else or whatever, what a man or a woman can do to start to protect themselves? Like because at a certain age that we go through some of this abuse, you know that it's not right. So it gets to a point where you say, okay, I know this ain't right, but what can I do about it? Like, a lot of kids just run away. A lot of kids, unfortunately, then will become abusers themselves. Is there something that we can do now spiritually to protect ourselves from situations like that?
What you mean, when you are a child and you're being abused?
I mean, like if you see someone as you're coming up, like when you're a child, you see certain things that are just not right, but you may not have the sensibility to vocalize what that is. But let's say if you get to be a teenager, per se, and you start to see, certain things just not adding up with your parents, with your family, You know, there's certain things that just don't seem spiritually correct. What are some of the things that a man or woman in that situation can do to maybe find out how or why the family is like that, and then in the process, you know, find a way out? Like, what's the exit strategy?
I grew up like that, so I think a lot of times you really feel powerless. You can't do anything, especially a young child being abused, being thrown here, and being there. The first thing I did, I definitely started to pray. I just kind of always knew that those beings were there when I was a little girl, even though I didn't understand it. And then I told other adults. I told people in the family, this is what's going on. Can you please help me? Can I come stay with you? And they all said no. They didn't want to be bothered. So the second thing was to tell people in authority at school. You know, either to tell police, to tell caseworkers. But in my situation, I think if I could go back and do it all over again, it would have been 2 runaways. It would have been 2 leaves. Sometimes it's better for them to leave. You're being fucked every day by your mama, by your daddy, by your brother, by your cousin. You're being beat up every day. I mean, what do we have to talk about? You know, if people are allowing it, people are watching the shit. You know, see what I understand to me, I understand it was a generational curse for my family. The more I wanted to understand how to overcome my mother and how to take her yoke off my neck and her foot off my fucking back, is that I had to understand my mother. So that required me to go all the way back in my family. People try to tell me, oh, well, no, time heals our wounds, and you just move forward. Thought, oh, that's a damn lie. You can't even go back and confront yourself. How the hell you going to move forward? It's best to know your bloodline, your lineage, because a lot of this shit is spiritual curses.
Yes, it is.
It's not put on you. It might have been on your grandma, your great-grandmama to carry down the line to fuck your ass up before you even damn born, or to put a spirit on them to possess them, to whoop your damn ass or sacrifice your ass. You don't know what other shit that's involved, and people think it's just physical. And with us, whenever you deal with people of color, there is always something supernatural about us and with us that is crafting, no matter how fucked up it seems. It's crafting everything, because we're numerology, astronomy, and astrology. We just don't know what it is. So we'll say, oh, it's just abuse, it's just the media. Oh, what will you do? My mother's crazy, my father. No, you don't know what unseen forces are projecting that fucked up ass action that on some level might not really be fucked up. I'm saying, like, on a higher level, it might not be fucked up because that may be the will of the entity moving through that being, but on a physical level, it is fucked up because it is tormenting and violating and abusing you, but they may not see the wrong in that shit. That's not really learning. Some shit that look wrong to us, to other beings, the shit is fucking right. But we don't fucking know.
That's
just
right.
like some people would always tell me, Alexyss, when you see fucked up shit going down on here, when there's war down here, it's always war in the heavens. There's always some sacrifice of bullshit, and there's going to be a game, there's a chess game being played with your motherfucking life or somebody else's. Somebody's finna, some blood finna spill some motherfucking way, and you think there's some evil men or some evil white folks. Now, that might be the will of the God or a war of a God, and your ass is just a fucking pawn. Now, are you going to stay a pawn or get caught up in the shit now that you know what time it is? Most of us don't even know everything, every movement or lack of movement in our life. To me, it's always supernatural shit.
Always. First.
To me, it's always
that then downgrades into something physical. So if that's the case, right, we agree on that. So if that's the case, then why is it that it seems to me that the more people sometimes protest that they this, that they that, you know what I mean, the more when it really comes to bear, they're not really like that. So if it's a situation in which we are constantly beset on all sides by not only, let's say, physical devils, but then these spiritual, vampiric devils that are, let's say, immaterial, that manifest through different people. What are ways that people can discern when something like that is happening? Is there a way, or do you know of any, let's say, developed ways to be able to attune the consciousness to be able to peep them out?
Yes. You must know yourself. You must really separate yourself and go the path that's least walked that most people don't want to walk. I think that's why we have so many people getting caught up in shit and looking to other people for answers, because you don't realize that you are the goddess and the God of the answers within yourself. To me, as I said, that's what I did. I had to confront my past. All the fucked up shit, the abuse, all the things I went through, I had to go back and understand that shit. I had to break that down and see it was about other shit that really had nothing to do with me, but had everything to do with me because it was based on previous lives and karmic agreements. And a lot of people be like, well, damn, why did he beat her ass? Or why this bitch beat my ass like this? And then this is so fucked up and this is so wrong. And then when you get by yourself and you start to confront yourself and learn to be true to yourself and to know yourself, as well as everything and everybody else, we realize that we are like a universe in orbit and that we have electromagnetic positive and negative charge, and we draw shit to us in the conscious realm that we don't even fucking know that we drew to us based on some unconscious karmic shit. So you got a fucked up mama, you got a fucked up man, you know, your child's a rapist, and you think, oh, it's him, it's the dad, and he wasn't shit, or shit, my mama jumped on you. A lot of this stuff that when we really get within ourselves, we start to heal ourselves so that we will be discerning, you will realize that it has nothing to do with nobody else as much as it has to do with us and the roles that we chose for them to play before we were born into our mother's womb this time. Even if you got a fucked up ass mama, there is some type of debt and some type of cosmic and subconscious agreement, and the bitch is playing her role. The nigga playing his role, the baby daddy playing his role, nigga be that, he playing his role. And a lot of times, this is going to happen to bust your ass down, whether it's physically bust your ass to the white meat, make your ass be homeless, make you go through some bullshit, because you see that you need to be resurrected, and then when you do that, and you realize that you are God, and you are the and then you eliminate the deities that has created the problem that you couldn't conquer from the previous life, and then you start realizing the power to attract the ones that really exist within you in your damn breath and in your organs.
Right.
And you call him around you and say, shield me, I don't want this no more, I don't want that no more. We are so powerful, and women are so powerful that women can speak the shit that they want and speak the shit that ain't motherfucking going down no more. But it's because we don't have the courage to face the fear and face the pain and say, yeah, I was raped at 5. The nigga did this, that, damn, that's fucking me, that's breaking my heart, and I'm just going to have a nervous breakdown right now. Had a fucking breakdown. You need to take yourself into the middle.
You need to go through it. You need to go through that to be able to come out the other side and then make an active choice to not go through that again. But see,
you'll see a lot of shit that you didn't see, and you think everybody's a bad person. And what I'm saying is it is bad people, but when you realize that they so goddamn close to you, because I was born into a mother that is a fucking beast. But at the same time, at this moment, do I hate my mother? No, I don't, because my mother was the most vicious, but yet most important warrior, goddess, teacher that kicked my ass to help me see, you know what? Bitch, you're not going to do that no more. You're not, because now I'm God, too. So now it's 2 goddesses at war. Do you see you don't want to do? Oh, okay. You don't want to stab me now because you know that I'm really awake.
Because you know I can kick your ass now. Right, because you know I can take it to you now, so you don't want to do that.
I
you
know.
want to act malpractice.
And if she wouldn't have done that, would I be talking to you now like this? Probably not.
True, probably
not.
But
it was a good life, and I had a good childhood, and I was petted. Probably not, because I wouldn't have tapped into this.
Do you subscribe to, okay, so we all know, right, we being that this is the work that you do, the work that I do, we know that the powers that be, as devilish or whatever they are, that they have these mind control programs in which they seek to use the occult realm and things like that to entrain families to become basically hosts for satanic, demonic agendas that take place over a succession of years, right? So we know that we're talking these MK programs and all that, we know that a lot of our people are products of that. Do you subscribe to the idea or the fact that some of these people write that, some of the people subscribe to the idea that, well, okay, when the handler, for those people that don't know, a handler is somebody who's alive and they have the slave, and then above the handler there's a controller, and then above the controller there's the total controller, whatever. So in the handler-slave situation, that's basically, let's say, a domineering man, right, with let's say a father who was in the military, right? Because this has happened. Let's say a father was in the military. He has, let's say, a daughter, and whether or not he was conscious of it or not or whatever, they basically did or used him to do things to start to entrain her to become things like because they turn people in all types of shit, computers, assassins, all types of stuff. So do you subscribe to the idea that once, let's say, the handler dies, the slave can become free? Or do you think that when the slave starts to raise themselves up or start to grow further in years in consciousness, that they started to, it's all right, man, that it's all right, that they could, that you have to wait for the handler to die? Or is it a situation where the handler dies in the mind or the psyche of the individual once the individual chooses that they want to basically control themselves? Which one do you think is more likely?
I mean, well, I grew up like that, so I already know. With me, I knew the tragedy was to basically you kill them in your mind. But to me, I don't really think it's possible to completely kill the handler in your mind. You can kill the emotional attachment, the karmic agreement, and the magic attachment in your mind while the person is still breathing or while they die, because I have seen people actually leave the state that they were born in to get away from their mama or to get away from their daddy. And then I've seen how they still breathing, they still a prisoner. You know, you're in another part of the world, another part of the country. And I have seen people's mamas die or daddy die, and then they feel like, goddamn, they ain't going to never get free because this dirty motherfucker died that was fucking them when they was 5 and was putting teeth in their mouth when they was 2. So it's really up to how fucked up and how weak the mind is of the slave and the impression that the person that's dominating them has impressed on their mind for them to be obligated to the program and obligated to the person that is inflicting the program. Like you said, every handler has a handler. And see, the way they did it to me, my family's an occult family and a very wrapped in religion. So that shit was done to me on psychic levels and mental, emotional levels, then it trickled down to the physical level. And what I've realized, especially people say that we get this from white people and white people do this to us. White people are our children. So that means that they do it that's because they got it from our ancestors. Our ancestors sold them that information or fucking turned on them and gave them that fucking shit. But that MK shit, that mind control, and that Illuminati shit comes from our people. So we need to take responsibility for what really is going on. We really got a deeper stake in this shit. We just are consciously blind to the shit because we choose to be slaves because we believe what they tell us. But whenever you have, I mean, yes, you know about, because I think I sent you that video the other day about that girl that gets demonically possessed and now she has a rock band where that demon just
ma'am, I peeped that. Yeah, she was a walk-in. I peeped that. That was the chick that looked like the chick from The Exorcist.
Albino. Yeah, it's like, to me, she's weaker because that demon totally takes her over like that. And she basically, this thing is living through her. We know that we see it more in them, but I think the reason we see it more openly in them is because their parents do rituals before they fuck them. So a lot of them is
before they even born. They get them niggas, they call it prenatal socialization. They get these people in the pre-utero. You know what I mean? Like they get them before they even coalesce into a being. And
you know what? We don't see it that way, but I see white folks will see a vision of a demon that might come to them when they damn 5 years old and tell them at 20, they'll do rituals with their children behind the scenes. So that demon said, when you get 20, you're going to get pregnant, and I'm going to embody that baby. So they'll start seeing it. Them demons will start be their childhood imaginary friend and shit. That's not an imaginary friend. And the other black women have been telling me, I saw my child 5 years before my child was born. Well, a lot of times you don't know what the fuck that is. Talking to you, somebody's going to be goddamn being born through you. So a lot of us, when we are being programmed, like under that trauma-based, like abuse, mind control, you don't never see no white folks around because we thinking that, it's only white folks that's handlers that put this shit in motion. Okay, we so fucking deep with that shit that I have actually seen people in my family say, you know what, this spirit told me to whoop your motherfucking ass. This spirit told me to go over there and break his leg. And the spirit will, they will hear this shit. So what I'm saying is, they got, obviously, some machines or technology, as well as these deities follow people through bloodlines and interdimensional and galaxy travel that will connect through the DNA and start to goddamn be the handler or the fucker that's handling you.
That's right. That's right. And to add on to that, like what you were saying with the ancestors, a lot of people, you know, we talk about the Moors and things like that, you know, you got to remember that the Moors went through a phase in which when they began to fight amongst them, or we, all of us, more meaning black people, when we began to go through these phases of disagreeing about what we was going to do with this corpozoid in the world, you had certain aspects of our community, just like now, that were very sympathetic to them. But then you had another core group on the opposite side that was not, and we just wanted to keep the slavery and do the shit we was doing to them. So a lot of the mind control shit, when I did the knowledge and the research on it, most of the techniques and shit that they're using now comes from a couple of different places. Specifically, most of the MK stuff that they're doing now, a lot of that stuff developed or was developed with a group of more they used to refer to as the Hashishim, which translate to the word assassin. And they were called Hashishim. They were called Hashishim because they used to go up. Before they would go on the ritual killings or the assassinations, they would go up on hashish. So much so that they wound up doing shit like this. They had the guys who used to run it. They used to call him the old man of the mountain. And this is in what is now Syria, elements of Persia, and what is now Iran and things. So when we got kicked out, let's say Spain or whatever, it created a big push for those people to create like little clandestine wars to put ourselves back in power. So one of these groups was the Hashemites, and what these dudes was doing was that they was mind controlling their own kids. They would have children, black children or whoever children, in the village, right? Then what they would do was at night they would go abduct the child. Then they would abduct the child. Then once they abducted the child, they would bring him back. We went back, or they would go back, and when the child would wake up, they would wake up in the palace of the Hashishim. But the palace was made to look like they would go into they had like a mountain, and then once you went through the mountain, you would come out, and it would be this beautiful valley. So when the kid would wake up, and it would be it would be like they created like little lakes with honey in it, like lakes with milk and all types of like illusionary stuff that when the kid woke up, he would tell the child, hey, you waking up now in heaven. So the child, he think, oh, this is what heaven is, right? This is why they say in the Muslim religion, they say when you die or whatever, after you kill, you go and meet Muhammad, you go and then you go get the virgins, right? Because this was carried over from the Hashishim, who used to tell the little boy recruits that. So they would give them there, and they would keep them there, and give them wine and hashish and all types of shit. Then, all of a sudden, they would knock the boy out, and when the boy wake up, he wake up back in the village. So now he like, did the shit happen? Did it not happen? So then again, they abduct him again and say, now you back in paradise. If you want to come back here, you got to kill for the Prophet Muhammad. You see what I'm saying? And then this became the thing in which the boys, in which the little children became the assassins, what they call the child rebel soldiers today. And they perfected this thing to such a degree that the Templars and the Knights Hospitaller, the white Freemasons that was fighting for their own freedom for those Moors that they was working for, started hiring these assassins, these Hashish assassins, to then go and kill their enemies for them. So pretty soon now, the whole impetus that it started to get us as black people back in power. It devolved into now black people just doing whatever mind control techniques they could do to not only maintain the present power they got, but then to alter the coming generations so that way they could all kind of facilitate a whole generation full of killers. And every movie, if you notice, that we watch that deal with political and government intrigue, is always some shit like this. Jolie just came out with this movie called Salt, where she was a little child assassin, taken, brainwashed, set out. Denzel did it when he was the Manchurian Candidate, right? He went, it was mind controlled, and then went back, set up to go kill somebody. Oswald, Sirhan, whoever else they do this to. But the thing is, because we don't know our history, like you say, we don't really understand that this thing is not coming from the mind of this devil. It's like we give him way too much power sometimes, I think. We put him in position to be way more powerful than he really is. And most of the shit he do by bluff anyway. So my thing also, to piggyback what you're saying, is like in my case, my programming, again, was handled by my grandmother and my mom's, per se. But specifically speaking, when they was locking us in the closets and all that shit when we was younger, me and my cousin, they never did it. It wasn't done like, you know, like you would think, like in the sense of like, you bad, I'm going to whip your ass, go in the closet, I'm going to leave you in there. It was more like we would just be playing, you know, and then when we go to leave the room be locked. But it was always the same room. And it was the sitting room. And you from the South, so you understand what I mean by sitting room. Sitting rooms are them rooms that would have everything in the room, and you couldn't touch nothing. You couldn't sit on nothing. You couldn't move nothing, right? Because that's where they would invoke the fucking thing.
Hey, did you always have plastic on everything?
Yeah, you couldn't touch plastic. My mother still got it. It's still there. I'm 38. My mother still got it the same way. The room ain't changed. Just like in the movie, when you watch the movie Skeleton Key, remember when the white girl went to the sitting room and took the ring?
Yep.
Right? Same thing with Hannah. They did another movie called Hannah with the white girl. Thanks, Charisma. They did that in this movie, Hannah, that just came out. I'm going to send it to you because you really like this one with the symbolism.
Okay.
Also, there was fucking Wizard of Oz. Yes. Let's keep it all the way funky. When they put her in the whirlwind, right, and she not in Kansas no more and all this other shit, all of that shit is mind control. When she went through the poppy field, they doped her up with the cocaine and the midgets. All this stuff is so intrinsic in our culture. What I'm starting to realize is that all of these cultures, I'm starting to think that government itself, you know what I'm saying? Man-made world government itself is the shit that's killing and sacrificing and eating and destroying everybody. I don't even think it's an individual no more.
That's what it's all about, and as long as in this system, that's what it's going to be about. And what I realize is, actually from my experience, the most powerful ones that can do it to you is the mama and the damn grandmama, because it's the same programming my mind came from. The mama and the grandmama, those are like the powerful matriarchs. And then it was three women, my great-grandmama, my grandmama, and my mama. But the thing is, to me, the great-grandmama was the most powerful chess piece, but she was silent. She was neutral doing all this bullshit. And I still be wondering about that shit. And she allowed... See, this is what I'm saying to you, like I said earlier. I've really watched this shit, and I don't really take nothing seriously physical no more. To me, everything physical is basically the final action or reaction of some other higher shit or some other being that could not act the shit out itself unless it had a hope. So a lot of times when I look at people, you know, I was looking at this motherfucking bitch, man. I don't even talk to this hoe no more, and I should have stopped talking to the bitch a year or two ago. Because every time I look at this bitch face, the spirit I would see on this motherfucker's face was between a wolf and a fucking hyena. And I would talk to this motherfucker sometimes and really just look at her, and then I would see a dog on this bitch face, and it was a hyena. Okay, what's the nature of a hyena? You see what I'm saying? I know how they motherfuckers get down. Hey, come on, let's walk in the park. I think it's me and you in the park. Next thing I know, 6 other fucking hyenas surround me and hunt my ass. So basically what I'm saying is, a lot of times you don't know what the fuck you talking to. Instead of when you get into yourself and you get to know yourself and why you went through what you went through and why you where you at and the type of beings that you were subjected to, and you start working on your shit and balancing you and realizing what did is walk with you, you look at life, so-called life, and people, when they approach you, you start looking at them from a higher place. You don't look at their money, their clothes, their beauty, their handsome, what they drive, where they live. None of that matters to me. Because now I'm really looking at really who is fucking on you. You know what I'm saying? Who is walking with you or who you walking with that's telling you what the fuck to do. And everybody got animal spirits on them and everybody got different spirits on them, agreeable or disagreeable. That's just how we are. That's who we are. And you have to be able to see what or who the fuck this is. And a lot of times you can actually see them. They have demonic beings on people's face, superimposed on them.
I've seen animals. To add on to what you're saying, when we were talking about the same way nowadays, when these people are using their so-called artificial technology and they're using radio waves and frequency waves, a lot of times what they do is they piggyback whatever they'll basically turn their instruments on to read subatomic levels. So as opposed to shooting the satellite out, they'll shoot it in to the universe. And then in there, that's when they get the transmission. So whatever dirty, decrepit, low-down entity that's not trying to rise up to the next level and do what it's supposed to do, they wind up making deals with it. And it says, well, channel me back through this satellite and then find a way to get me into your reality, and I will bless you with knowledge and technology, whatever. So what they'll do is they'll put the entity itself, which is really just an algorithm at this stage, and link it or hide it inside of a radio transmission, let's say a TV show or a song or whatever, and then they'll send it out. And then the people who start getting caught up in it and vibratorily like entranced by it winds up becoming a situation where okay. I know, baby. Yeah. It gets to a point where they can't really have a means to discern what's infecting them. So the same way that the people do that today, back in the days before artificial technology, they used to do this by using spirits, which is in the form of alcohol or wine and stuff like that. So when you hear these guys talking about, I'm going to the club and I'm gonna buy me a bottle of Louis XV, 45, 50-year-old, 100-year-old bottle of this wine or whatever, those bottles and contain a lot of the malefic entities of the past, because they used to transfer them through alcohol, like the Romans. The Romans used to use potions, torture, blood ritual. I'm talking about the white Romans. The potions, the torture, blood ritual, imprisonment, and constant propaganda. Whereas in China and Japan, they would use herbs, they would use organ harvesting, and mutilations of torture. The Incas, the Mayas, the so-called Aztecs, right, the ones that they putting out there, they would use potions, herbs, skin carving, tattoos. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of the ethereal implants go through them tattoo needles too, because that's blood and ink.
Right.
So you got to be careful who you let write on your body like that. You can't just be going to 3 different people and getting all these different tattoos. You want to get the tattoo, try to go to the same person. Try to develop a relationship so you know this person, because you don't know what they're putting into you, what they're writing into you, and what that symbol is going to etherically do to you subconsciously. But then in India, they was using sex, oils, the Kama Sutra, blood rituals, sacrifice, all that. American Indians, though, they was using more other shit. They was doing piercings, tobacco rituals, body paint, stuff like that. But a lot of times, like remember when we read about them doing the ghost dance and all that back in the days around the Wounded Knee thing, the Trail of Tears. That ghost dance was a leftover thing in which the tribes that were doing that, the only selected people within different tribes could do that dance. So you had to be a certain type of priest or a certain type of priestess, and then it wasn't like one tribe did the dance. It's like all the nations, all the tribes sent their representative, and then each one from a different tribe would then get together to do the dance. But the dance specifically was about creating or I would say supplicating the, I want to say demon or entity that our people had already knew was going to overtake all of our people. So when the crackers found out about that, that's why they had to shut that down altogether. And that was one of the last times specifically, that was one of the last times specifically, because what they was trying to do was supplicate the entity and turn it against the white man, because the white man was basically coming as the physical embodiment of what they referred to as the long winter, or what Sister Soldier would call the longest winter ever. You see what I'm saying? In the process in which we would be perpetually asleep due to the fact that we started falling victims when we started trying to use these host bodies, a.k.a. these Caucasian people, as tools of war against each other. And then those of us that started to use them to such a degree began to amalgamate with them, and then this thing that was basically we created to put in them went right back in us, and then we created this cyclical relationship, this symbiotic relationship throughout a course of years that certain members of our family would agree to uphold the coming of this whatever entity. So each family got, when they talk about 13 families or whatever, it ain't just them. It's 13 families, but of that 13 families, there's about 2,139 descendants of those families. And then if you multiply that, let's say by 10 every year from 1933, you know what I'm saying? Like we're up to maybe about 500,000, maybe 1 million people who specifically is connected to this thing from the top. Whereas those of us now who are the real humans, the real people that's been here for all of these years, we can't even deal with them because we got so much shit with our own family, our own people, you know what I mean, that we can't even, begin to think about how we're going to deal with this nigga until we figure out first, am I possessed? Am I under mind control? Am I screwed up? How can I unify all of these different alters in me enough to take possession of myself and then do what I need to do and then see that in other people? Like, I don't think that a lot of our people, specifically when we talk about revolution and shit like that, to me, there's nothing more revolutionary than taking control of your soul again. Like, I don't give a damn how much you march, how much money, what flag or whatever. If you are not in control of yourself and your soul, or you don't even know you got one, you a detriment not only to yourself but to all of us. Mm-hmm. Do you think it's a hereditary thing where it's a specific type of black people? Because when I see what they're doing to the Africans over there, right, and then I see what's going on with us over here, I see parallels, but but it's a different, let's say, tactic. Or is it the same? Am I just seeing something that's different? How do you see it?
I was wondering the same thing because I guess I was up about 5 this morning, and before I went to sleep, I got something from Alexyss showing Somalians, a lot of them over there suffering real bad from mental illness because of the constant mortar. It's like they're doing a lot of shells dropping, explosions, a lot of killing. There's a lot of war going on over there, as well as in Africa, other parts of Africa. And I was like, why? I guess because they dominate this region right now, that they will not allow that level of desolation and war to come to us. Even though we've had levels of it with the lynching, straight-out murder, gutting of our people, taking of organs. But it's not been, like you said, as broad as it is over there. But what I kind of fear is that it's moving in that direction, because it's like if they want to implode this system and they want to basically devalue it and turn it into a cashless society, basically turn it into a wasteland and have basically all the bankers are offshore and they're running everything from offshore. They got their money going, other places, while they're basically imploding the system, and they basically do it like you put in a frog, like you kill a frog, where you don't throw that thing in boiling water. You put it in water that's warm, and you slowly and slightly turn the water up to know that it's dying.
Incrementalism. Yeah, the Army calls it incrementalism.
Yeah, and
they just slowly turn the fire up, and before you realize you cooked, you dead.
They have
they done turn the slow heat on you.
Yeah, and I see what they're doing, like taking benefits from people losing their jobs. There's been more people now since Obama's administration are on food stamps than when it was the Great Depression. It's like this stuff is happening so fast, but yet on a major level, people don't see how fast it is in these little pockets. And I think that's what created the uprising on Wall Street and like the protests on Wall Street, because this is going to happen. A lot of our people don't know. The white folks have always been taught, even taught their little children, to keep up with politics and government and get involved. Watch the news.
That's right.
Keep up with stocks and investments. So they see this and they're speaking out and acting very quickly, I think, because it's affecting them. But I think it's a different standard when it comes to us. Because I'm like, I am not going to protest. I am not this. I'm going to fight the goddamn power revolution to the motherfucking cracker.
Not like these people doing that. That to me looks like a psychological operation.
To me,
I knew there was a fly in the ointment when I seen Russell Simmons down there with Kanye West. I was like, what? As much money as you make, nigga?
Exactly. And when I see people like Alex Jones and all these other people that are talking about making you aware of the Illuminati and what's going on with the New World Order, him and all them other white folks can stand out there and protest all day long. He can stand in front of the Federal Reserve in Texas and tell everybody else to meet him everywhere else where there's 12 Federal Reserve branches are. And no crackers ain't going to do nothing to him. Let one of us pull that motherfucking shit. You see what I'm saying? It really makes me feel like it's a double standard when it comes to us. I'm not going to be a part of that shit. I don't know who the fuck is out there. I'm sure everybody's being taped and motherfucking photographed out there, and there's certain folks that's going to be put on the list, and there's certain folks that ain't going to be put on the list because they agents any motherfucking way, and they just trying to draw the sheep out and let you point them motherfuckers out. So I feel like you said, that is not the way we respond. Like you said, we need to see what's going on in Africa. We need to see how, because that's still our family, whether they don't want to claim us or whether we don't want to claim them or not. That is still our bloodline, and they are the reflection of us. So if they do that to them, they'll do that motherfucking shit to us. It just might not be time for them to pull that shit over here because it will affect them.
That's what makes me think that they, like the Caucasian man and these other people, are kind of our children as well. Like the way that they talk about Africans is that we all came out of them. But if you do the knowledge, and if everything that was over here, well, everything that was over there in the old world was over here first, then that means that specifically they are then a product of us too. So it's almost like shit started here when it was all together. It broke apart. We split up. And now in the interim, now that the adversary has kind of been running things, we kind of still at odds. And based on geographic location that exists in the mind, because I see it more in the mind than in the physical place. Because I'll see some of these Africans come over here and they'll treat you worse than a white man. But at the same time, I've met others that are not. They're the total opposite. But what I find in both instances is that there's a difference in how the melanin is being expressed in us, specifically as the indigenous original people here, and how it is being expressed everywhere else in the world. What I'm of the opinion of is that we are the progenitors, the mother, father, mother, God, of all of these different quote-unquote races that exist in the world. And when we began to leave these societies, the rituals and traditions that were set up became the basis of the mythos of what the gods would be. So when they was talking about, first father and all of this in the ancient Tamarn Khan, let's say, Olmec society, they was actually talking about us. But the people who was talking about us was the people who was there after we left. So I feel like whenever we start a society, we bring it up to the highest level that it could be. But then when we start realizing that we are becoming too attached to the physical aspects of it and not enough to the spiritual, some of us begin to leave. And then when that happens, the society begins to deteriorate, and eventually when it goes into ruins, the people who come into the ruins and look at the stories and the societies, we basically become their gods. But physically, we're just in another part of the planet now. You see what I'm saying? But we left our imprint. So when you were saying how we're the fathers and mothers of all of these people, I totally agree with that. But what I'm also saying is that there's obviously a rebellious nature in children that they almost want to not pay homage or not come back into the human family, almost want to expel and get rid of us so they can be us. Do you see that happening too?
Yeah, but also you have to realize, I was looking at a video a young man put up on YouTube. There was a royal coat of arms. We ruled England. You know, they destroyed that.
That's right.
They didn't want you to see them black folks with that nappy hair and them thick lips and big noses and them royal coats of arms. And they actually worship those people as gods and actually have magical talismans that white folks keep in private of the black royal coat of arms. So what I also realized, we have disagreeable, and he was talking about how we fell in Europe and in Africa because the Moors fought among themselves and sold each other out to white folks and to George Washington. So we can't really, that's what I was talking about earlier, looking at the faces of some of these motherfuckers, they look like a goddamn hyena and shit. We need to, it's a war, internal war with our folks. Just because we look alike or we're supposed to be from the same so-called race of people, same bloodlines, we're not. And we're going to always have these wars. And they keep us busy fighting among each other about dumb shit, but we have to realize what we don't realize, which I'm beginning to see, is that I am the black cosmic mirror. It's like in my cells is a black mirror that is basically bottomless. It has no beginning and no end. That's what the black woman is. That's what the black man is. Anybody that's melanated, period, on this planet is a cosmic mirror, and that is a black mirror, and everything is and is not made and died and recreated again in a black mirror. These people know that science about us. So when they put whatever they put in us, whether it is negative or not, or conflict, that stuff has a rotation or a lifetime cycle that might last hundreds, thousands, or even millions of years based on the expression of that gene, based on the DNA. That's just like one strand.
Let me ask you this then. So do you think that do we have a choice in that when we incarnate here? Is that part of the deal? Like, is it a thing that you can choose when you get here not to participate or be, let's say, inclined to be down with that? Or is that just sort of a rites of passage of physical reality where you may go through aspects of that to realize that that's not the real, so that way you can get more in tune with yourself? Or do you think
it depends on who. It depends on who created you, because the point I was going to make was about not realizing you're the black mirror, the cosmic mirror, like white folks do. They know that when they set something in motion within us, because we are so deep and we're so vast and we're an expression of the universe, that they can set that conflict and drama and have us fighting within ourselves, and they flip everything upside down, and they know that you're not going to figure it out. A lot of stuff, the ones of us, like me and you talking, we're only a small fragment compared to the whole, and we're not going to be able to wake everybody else. I don't even try. But they know that what they got set in motion in us is so deep, and we don't know, and we blame everything and everybody outside of ourselves. They know that shit will go on for another fucking 100 years, or you give birth to 2 children. One will be of light and one will be of darkness, because you did not close off and clean out the black cosmic mirror within your cell when you conceived that child in your mind and in your uterus and then pushed it to your black hole canal, whether it was cut out or pushed out. He already programmed. She already programmed based on what's on you. So they know they're going to keep us fighting, because they're not going to tell you that key. They're not going to unlock that key. They're going to keep you upside down, because they realize you, not them. You have the power because you absorb, because you're carbon. So everything is black in there, but they know that's where everything comes through that matrix to get here in the physical. So the way they also had to set up, too, is like a spell where when you come there, it's like we're talking about in Genesis, where we let us create man in our own image. And I was telling somebody earlier, and they're talking about Adam pulled Eve out of him. I'm like, that's not possible unless there was another creation or some type of gene splicing or mutation, something that they were doing, because that's not possible for a man to the first creation, him pulling us out of him, when we were first and we pulled him out of us. So when you
have you heard about the whole thing about Lilith?
Yes.
About how Adam had a wife before Eve, and that was Lilith, and then she was some type of succubus, and then he had babies with her, and then that created another line, and then after she was scrapped, that's when Eve came. This is what the occultists get into. So I was thinking in parallel what you're saying. Do you think that
But you know what I wonder, too? Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. That was it.
When they say that, I kind of look at goddesses. Whenever they try to destroy the image of a goddess, that makes me wonder, is there a flip side to her that they don't want you to see? I don't really think Lilith is completely the evil, as they say. And then I know she definitely, her origin is not white. So whenever a lot of times the origin of a goddess is not white, they're going to try to destroy her and make her a damn demon and the devil. Mm-hmm. But what I'm saying is, too, when you come down, basically we choose. A lot of people say, I don't want to be here and I want to die. So people will make themselves sick or draw circumstances to them to give them diseases or make them sick or to kill them, and they say they want to go. No, you wanted to come. And usually if you come this first time, you've had like parallel jumps. You had other lifetimes. And if you come as a person of color, you usually have a very deep soul, and you wanted to come back this time. So basically you see everything. Before you get in a body, you see it all. It's so clear because you choose, this is what I want to look like, this is what my mom want to look like, I want my dad, I want this experience, I want that experience. But because of the spell that they put on this dimension right here, the illusion, you get tricked to the illusion. Now, if you are full of life, because like I'm sure you probably did when you were little, and when I was little, I could see them and I could hear them. As a little girl, but the fucked up ones, they had sicked on me. So I was like, had the demons, trying to like get me to kill myself and shit. And then I'm trying to like, I couldn't tell my mother or my grandmother because everybody was acting like I was a weirdo, even as a little kid, because I was very quiet and very like a nerd, like crazy, like by myself. I didn't really have no playmates and stuff. So my grandmother, when I asked her earlier, did you know what I was going to do? She's like, I didn't know. I raised you, but I didn't see that. And maybe she had been deliberately blinded because she would have protected me from my mother and everybody else and would have trained me like a lot of people keep their children in isolation. And they train them because they get divination before, during the pregnancy, after the pregnancy, and they divine for the name, they divine for the birthday, based on the astrology and numerology. They know what the child is. They know what, then that child is getting initiated from the time it's born. Until, for the rest of its life. But basically it can sustain itself and it knows what it is. It knows what spirits that's given, and then it's given additional spirits to watch over and to groom that child. So if that does not happen, a lot of times even that is preordained to have that child totally awake when they come here like you were and I was, and then have the programmer, the handler, usually be the mother or the grandmother, to try to disrupt the inner child within that person that really has all the keys and has access to the deities, so you won't wake up.
Yes, that's exactly what I used to kind of see. I remember, and then also in doing this work now and working with people and helping people regress and get past certain things, I see parallels in the experiences that a lot of us have had that we think just happened to us. And they're actually all perverted rites of passage for those of us that live in this corrupted timeline based upon, like you said, the demiurgical veil, what they call the veil of Isis, or the spell of Maya, who is the goddess of illusion. It's this thing that permeates this reality that can shape perception based upon what you want to see. So a lot of these entities, when these people who practice this so-called deep occult magic or whatever, the Cthulhuan type of stuff or the Golden Dawn stuff or all of the stuff that is all run by the military and all that now, when they do that type of stuff to create these moon children through these rituals, they are still doing it from a perspective that have the ability to control something beyond their understanding. And in the process, the entities themselves understand that about their nature and use that constantly against them. So as much technology and money and things that they get, they are not even in control because they have to give that control up to something and somebody else. And all of these negative entities are trying to stall their return back to the all, which is again the mother, father, mother, God. So specifically speaking, when I look at how we came out of it, those of us that do realize that we are going through these situations, what I'm seeing is that there is nothing in the so-called, let's say, black community or conscious community or the overall, let's say, mainstream African-American community, if you will, that is actively dealing with the satanic ritual abuse that is specifically being done to black men and women and their children. That it seems like when you bring that up to, let's say, basic revolutionary black people or those black people who, want to, rebel and, like, pull guns on the government or whatever, those type of black people, some of them do not see the relevant in this or even believe that this is real, which then allows me to think that a lot of them are still under the control in which they're blinded as well, And I'm seeing that I'm seeing that each one of us that do this type of thing are really physical representations of a form of black, of original cosmic melanin consciousness. So you are an archetype of a type of it. I'm one. You know what I mean? And other people are trying to position themselves to be. But what I'm seeing is that a lot of these people are not serving the same creator, it seems. Have you noticed that?
Definitely, I already see that our people aren't. And you know what, to be honest with you, a lot of our men are brainwashed. A lot of our men are undependable. A lot of our women are as well. And we cannot trust them because they don't have the same agenda we do. They don't have the same vision. They don't see what we do, and they're caught up in the matrix, and they're caught up in their own issues. I see this every day. That's why I don't even really, I just keep my distance. A lot of these people I'm not going to really engage with because they're not for us, not of us, they're not by us. And they are not trying to help bring about the same agenda that we're trying to bring about. So that's what I was saying earlier. To me, it's more of a spiritual revolution that we need to take first within ourselves. Like, it reminds me of where the Christians, and I used to believe that too, talking about you better get ready because when we see all these bad things coming, the Antichrist is coming, the end time is coming, Jesus is going to come back for the second coming, dead folks, our loved ones, going to get up out the ground, and we're going to leave our bodies and basically go up into the heavens. I think they got that a little bit confused. We are moving into another dimension, and they try to look like this is destructive, but I think it's going to be two sides of us, the ones that raise up and the ones that die and fall. A lot of our people are not going to make it, and they're talking about 2012. I believe it's already 2012. The transformation, the shift has already come. The so-called indigo children or light children, I think they want to stop those of our children from coming, but they're coming anyway. And this is something that we're going to have to prepare ourselves to make our ascension. But I do believe, because I see it happening, you can and you will make your ascension within your body. You're not going to have your physical body die to make the ascension. And to me, that is revolution, because it's actually like a revolution of your cells, activation and elevation of your cells. It's really not about death, only death in the sense of being blinded to the knowledge of who we are, but it is going to be physical death for a lot of our people, and we already see. A lot of our people just dropping dead, 25, 30 years old, having a damn heart attack out in the middle of nowhere.
Dying of cancer at like 28.
Kidney collapse.
Kidney failure, colon cancer, prostate cancer. But then, gout, like all types of crazy shit. It's like this. It's like Western society kills people. It's like there was none of this stuff to me. Leukemia and all this shit. Like, they wasn't having leukemia in ancient Sumer. They didn't have leukemia even during the Iroquois days. All of these onset diseases to me are maladies that derive, are symptoms from the sickness of what we have understood Western society to be, because it was built by white men for white men. It started off with black white men first, and then it's now white men dominating black men. But specifically, because there's such a juxtaposition, a direct, like, predatory thing with, let's say, white people and black people. All the races in the middle are basically kind of, to me, like fence-sitting. They kind of waiting to see, like what we going to do, you know what I mean? Because it really don't make sense politically to ally yourself with people who have no power, in the material power in the world. And I'm not talking about us in a metaphysical God, we got all the power and all of that. I'm talking about in terms of can you go into your $1 million house? You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Can you live without really having no money? Because that's the other thing. These white people have all this money, whatever, and they have none. There's a show that's on TV on one of these mind control oxygen channels where it's like a pawn shop, but it's a celebrity pawn shop. So this is where the celebrities come to pawn their shit. But they don't call it a pawn shop. There's nothing that would say pawn in front of it. Like, it looked like a boutique. Like if you went into, like, Ferragamo or something, you know what I mean? But this is where these celebrities, again, is going to hawk their shit because they don't have no money, and then they got everything on credit, they face and they name, and by having sex with somebody. Now that the government and them is calling in the loans, they got to get cash. But they don't want to just go to the regular shit because that would upset the mind control, the perception that the people have of opulence and status and success. It's a different ball game if you in the food stamp office and you turn to your left and Queen Latifah on the line with you. Like, that's a whole nother mind thing. So certain people couldn't handle that. So to hide that, they have created a substrata now in their society, and this is why I'm telling black people, where you can get some money now. You can make money on showing rich or white people or so-called people who were, let's say, upper class, how to cut costs in terms of food and stuff like that.
Please talk about my favorite show. It's my obsessive Virgo show, Extreme Couponing.
Yeah, they got a show called Extreme Couponing where this white woman, we've been watching the show, hit me to it. This white woman went in the store with a binder catalog with coupons and all type of shit, right?
And she's a master.
This white woman bought about $648 worth of food. This woman jewed it down to $6.48. And people was taking pictures with their cell phones and shit. Like, this is incredible. Let me tell you, you grew up in the 80s. We would have never, in the 80s, what was it? It was Dynasty, Dallas, it was the Huxtables, money. It was all, you would have never seen no white people on TV talking about how they using coupons to get their food. But they'll do it now because they broke. They don't have nothing.
But she studied it so hard.
So I'm looking at
this
shit. I'm like, oh, this is a way to
done
make money.
that. You know, they just secretly didn't show it. You know,
they just didn't show it. That's what I'm saying. They showing it now, though. That's what I'm saying. That's home ec. But they showing it now. So the fact that they showing it now, I'm saying that as black people, this is how black people have lived their entire life in America. So, right, if anybody can be a consultant to how to cut costs and getting your food and your money and your car note and all this other shit paid, it should be us. We should be the ones to be showing these niggas how to do it. Just like I said, if they're going to gentrify your neighborhood and move into your neighborhood and move you out, you need to move where they move from. Because they moving from trees, grass, lakes, waterfalls, mountains. They move into what? To move to Brooklyn? to live across the street from the projects? What are they telling us? They telling me that it seemed like wherever they at, they getting ran out. The floods, the fires, the earthquake, whatever it is, the explosions, they getting run out. So they figure, well, hey, we gonna move to where the black people at, because where they at, they don't go through none of this shit. They get beat up by police and shoot each other shit, but they leave us alone. So technically, that means the spiritual energy is with us. The only thing that's keeping New York standing is those spiritual people that's really about it. You know what I mean? The only thing keeping Atlanta standing is the people that's there that's spiritually about it. Same thing in Florida, same with everything else. Therefore, we are literally keeping people alive. you are keeping people alive just because of your vibrating matrix radiates maybe 10,000, 3 to 5,000 feet from wherever your central location is. So whoever's around you is receiving the blessing just by being there. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's why, again, I feel blessed in being able to, again, build with you as well as the people and to celebrate the goddess in that way, because quiet as is kept, the wisdom that you have brought forth is very cosmic, and I think a lot of the stuff that we're doing, it's not even really for those of us that are into it. It's going to be for the people who come after us, right, and our children and stuff like that to inherit, because we are the only ones saying that there's something else going on, and we're the only ones saying that you don't have to join a group, you don't have to have sex with this man, you don't have to buy this car for this woman, you don't have to be sexually or politically driven for you to achieve some sort of happiness and success here. And that alone is revolutionary to me. Because if you listen to a lot of these other people in situations, not only in our community, but communities in general, it's like there is no hope. You might as well just shoot yourself in the head now. Listen to Alex Jones, these people, it's like these people, they already got it locked. It's already won for them.
Plug in for Maryland. She has a show coming.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We're coming down to the last 5 minutes. Can you plug your upcoming lecture and what is your point, please?
Let me put it in the chat. And thank you for having me on. I enjoyed myself.
Thank you.
It was so nice.
Me too, Queen.
Sunday, December 18th, I will be in Baltimore, Maryland, doing a lecture on the resurrection of the goddess and the god, and be talking about some of these same things, definitely about the goddess rising up in us, and definitely what we need to know to activate her, truly activate her, walk and talk and embody that goddess and the resurrection of the God. What does that look like? How to recognize that. And also I'll be doing separate workshops, probably on Saturday, maybe another one on Sunday. If the people want to come to that lecture, the workshops, private workshops, spiritual sexuality, Think and Grow Rich, and healing the wounded inner child.
Indeed. Don't you have products as well?
Yeah, I have my own natural hair care line, and they can see my videos. Actually, see the videos about this lecture and the products on my YouTube page, Alexyss K Tylor. They can see it. I'm trying to put it in the chat. For some reason, I can't put it in your chat. Did you? Let me try to see it. Thank you for real. I'm trying to put it in there. I can't get it to go in on my computer. I don't know why. But yeah, and AlexyssKTylor.net. I have my store with my hair care products, AlexyssKTylor.net, and they can see them there in the store. They can contact me directly, AlexyssKTylorVP@gmail.com, because I like to talk to everybody, and I'll give them a phone consultation to find out what you need and how you need it if you want to get something from me. So it's real easy.
You personalize it.
Yes, I do.
You personalize the products, right? Yeah, exactly. You're not a mass productionist.
No,
which again
I know
is
one
organic.
size don't fit all. So I'm going to give you this link now so you can put in your chat, because I'm not able to get the link in the chat so they can see the information on my YouTube page, how to register for that event.
Okay, I'll definitely do that. And also, thank you again for pushing through, because I know you've gone through a lot of adversity in doing this work.
Yep.
A lot of stuff that really no goddess or woman, period, should have to go through, you know what I mean, just to convey a message to the people. Because, again, the people always have the choice to listen or not listen. So none of us should be saying what people should or should not listen to. Was never our thing. So anybody who's saying, specifically, don't listen or don't do, that's not cool, unless circumstances provide to show the error of this person's character. But even then, none of us are perfect, and you can't be in situations where I commend you for not bowing against peer pressure and standing up and saying that you don't have to, you know what I mean? do certain things or go through certain hazings, rituals to be accepted, by, not even the people, because the people are exception. You know what I mean? It's just that, again, in doing this, you come across people from all sorts. So, again, we at Super Heru Radio want to support you always and let you know that we riding. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Thank you. And Selena says peace.
Love you. Love you.
So.
The crackhead in the background, like, what's she saying? What's she saying?
But definitely, anybody.
You're basically like our first guest.
Yes.
It's ringing in the year correctly.
Indeed.
I wouldn't want to have anybody else. Thank you.
We're going through the last, October. We're in the second to last month of the whole Jason ritual period. So to have you on in the old month is really, really great because it also represents the zero, and the zero is the womb. The womb is the mother. So it's definitely dope. And to be our first guest, it really has brought more balance as well, because we have to be discerning. You just can't have anybody on your show. So
to celebrate you as a queen and as a goddess tonight. Ashe to Oshun, Ashe to Yamaya, Ashe to Oya, Ashe to all the goddesses that continue to encircle and bless you. And I'm just so thankful that another woman outside of myself can be in our lives and contribute and be able to be a wisdom to Aseer, because it's really important that that exists outside of what people think the husband and wife matridom should be. And it's just such a blessing because we really need each other, and I'm so thankful. So thank you.
Thank you. Anytime.
There she goes. She is on. Hold on a second. She said thank you.
Indeed. So with that, to the greater Super Heru family, thank you for tuning in and holding us down and always supporting. Anybody wants to holler at us about the red and blue Kachina preparation class we have going on this Wednesday, hit us up at houseofl@hotmail.com, HOUSEOFEL@hotmail.com. You could also check us out on superheruradio.com, as well as www.aseerthedukeappears.com. And again, thank you, Queen Alexyss, for coming through. Big up to my brother Saga and all of the real gods and goddesses, true immortal soldiers and soldiers that is out here working with us and working together. So with that, we say peace.